Hey, it's Prospector Jess. I thought I'd come by and give you a little bit of a detailed explanation of something people have been asking me about. And that is the relationship of topo maps, contour lines, and gold found in gold maps. So let's take a look. So we have an X I mark here in kind of a purpley color. That magenta, I think is what they call it. So these magenta X's mark where gold is concentrated, starting with your lode source, which you can find using a gold map or historic mining information, or just plain pick and shovel. Take your pick. The objective is you want to find out where that gold is. You also want to find out where it might concentrate in other places. And between those 2 points is a thing called a gradient. That's this slope. The gradient basically is formed when you look at each of these horizontal lines. They are at the same elevation. So each one of these represents a contour line along the same altitude above some baseline, like sea level. Typically, when you look at these, you're going to see them on a map in a form that looks more like this, where the map would be a rectangle of information, and the contour lines will be a series of lines marking out those elevation lines. And they might do something interesting like this, which could quickly sweep into a whole series of these, which would indicate there's a steep descent right here where they're packed together closely, and a not so steep descent where they seem to kind of meander along. That would indicate that this might be some kind of floodplain through here, and this might be a waterfall, or someplace where gold might have quickly flowed downhill. So this is what the map looks like to you, but this is what it looks like in real life, except for the stripes. You don't find that on mountains these days. Now, once you look at those slopes, you're going to pick a line that intercepts them at about 90 degrees, a right angle. That line is what's called the steepest descent. That's where the gold goes. The steepest descent. Gold rolls downhill, like some other things. So the idea is, when it moves downhill, it's going to find another place where there's an intercept where it can no longer go downhill further, and it'll change direction and follow perhaps a streamline, something that would push it, water. But in this case, gravity plus water. In fact, in both cases, gravity is what's really the moving agent here. The water is kind of like the thing that propels it, but the gravity is what's providing the force. So once you have these various pockets that form, you can exploit them in other means. We won't go into that in this little short video. But the thing you want to look for is this steepest descent concept. That's what's shown by the topo map. The origins and destinations are shown on your gold maps, and I talk about that in gold maps, government gold maps, the video and PDF series. So for now, you have this simple thing. I wanted to give you one more little tip. If you see a dimple, like some dents in the side of a mountain, something that came in and like maybe a meteor impacted it, it's worth investigating, especially with a metal detector or something like that. That could be a swale. Basically, a swale forms for a variety of reasons, one of which can be the degradation of gold ore, such as chalcopyrite, which releases sulfuric acid when it's at the water table. Right at that boundary where there's oxygen above and water below, you get the interaction of the sulfur in that pyrite that creates sulfuric acid. It eats the quartz and leaves the gold. Guess what gold does? It goes downhill with gravity, concentrating as that quartz erodes into a pocket placer. The only thing you might see is a little tiny dimple on the side of the hill, a bucket, a bowl, if you will. Not man-made, but something kind of natural but kind of weird, because you wouldn't normally expect to see a dent in the side of a hill. You'd expect to see something more like this, where you get a crevice or a canyon flowing down from water erosion. When you see these, investigate them, because you could have a pocket placer where the gold decayed in place over tens of thousands or millions of years, and you don't know it, but you've got this huge bucket of gold. It's easy to get to because it's not very deep. Remember, this is where the water table was when this thing stopped getting eroded. So the gold isn't going to go very much further down from that. So that's another tip. This is Prospector Jess, over and out. Another Gold Miner's Minute for you. Catch you later.